And so I am super live on Instagram. I am live on Facebook. I'm also live on YouTube. And I haven't been live on YouTube in a while. So my YouTube people, make sure you subscribe and hit the subscription button. I'm excited to be back. Hey guys, I'm super excited. If you're wondering what in the world I'm talking about, I have been on business/vacation in Jamaica. So excited to be back here. So excited to be back home. I'm happy. If this is your first time catching me live, it's your girl, Sherri Somers, your business professional life coach. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to give Instagram and Facebook a few minutes to let everyone know that I'm here. I'm also trying to make sure I can see your comments because I'm using StreamYard. Sometimes you guys ask me hey Sherri, what are you using? So I'm using StreamYard. So I'm excited to be here because we're going to be talking about true meaning of courage. And I experienced so many strong meaning of courage these past few days where I was out the country in Jamaica. And I want to kind of share that with you because I think this will be an inspiration for your day. And I think this will also help you to really look into yourself and say, hey, I'm doing the damn thing. So jump on in here with Instagram. If you can hear me, go ahead and give me a 1 in the chat. I'm also looking to my left to make sure that I can see you guys on Facebook so I can see your comment as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It feels good. Feel like I haven't seen y'all in forever. I feel like I haven't seen y'all in forever, or talked to y'all in forever. So welcome, 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 everyone. And thank y'all for tuning in. I'm just giving Facebook a little bit because sometimes the algorithms has been messing up lately. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the true meaning of courage. And we have heard the word courage before. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday about the same thing, about the true meaning of courage. And we have our vulnerability of courage. Let's say that, like just having that vulnerability to really say we're truly going to help someone. Now, why am I talking about this? In this season that we're in with COVID, look like it's increasing in our area. I don't know about you guys, but in our area, it seems like it's just going up every day. So in this season where we have to be a little more patient, even at my resort when I was in Jamaica, I had to be a little more patient because the Wi-Fi not kept going out. And I'm like, oh, I can't send my emails. I can't do the things that I need to do. So it becomes sometimes a little frustrating. But in that moment, I always say, every time something not going the way that I had planned it to go, I always stop for a second and I always say, okay, God, is this what you want me doing, or is this something else I should be doing, right? It's a part of a listening, right? I think we spend so much time moving and we don't take a second to listen to what instruction is that we need to be doing. Like, don't get me wrong. Every day you wake up with a plan and you have your day planned out, but then there's another plan that God has for your life, right? So he has a plan, you have a plan. So, his plan gonna get done and he'll gonna force you to move to his plan. So I learned how to be still and then listen to, when things are not going exactly of what I had planned for it to do, I take the second to say, okay, God, is this the plans? What do you want me to do? Because you're the leader here. What do you want me to do? Right. So the reason why I want to come in here and talk about courage is I'm seeing a lot of things going on, whether it's in our media, whether it's even at the resort. There's a lot of things going on right now, even with Haiti and everything that happened with the earthquake, and we have COVID, and there's all sorts of things. And I think this is a moment where we all need to be having a little more patience and having more courage to step out there. So I'm talking to the people who know that they're born leaders. That's what I'm talking to. Right? Are you a leader? Because that's what I'm talking to today. I'm talking to the born leaders. Like, if you know that you are called to be a leader, that's the person I'm talking to today. If you know that you're called, hey, Leah, how you doing, gorgeous? If you know that you're called to transform life, that's what I'm talking to today. If you know that you're called to inspire people, that's what I'm talking to today. And if you know somebody like that, go ahead and tag them right now, because they're going to be blessed and encouraged by the things I'm getting ready to say. And they may want to grab their Diva notebook and the diamond pen too as well. So if you know that you are called to transform life by renewing of their mind. And I think that's why I became a business professional life coach. It's just renewing of your mind, right? And what I mean by renewing of your mind is when I was talking to a girlfriend of mine yesterday, and we were talking about family stuff, and she had a family member that passed away, and she was talking about different things, and she said, Sherri, as I got older, the things that I thought is no longer. Hey Garrett, it's been forever since I've seen you. How are you doing? He says, as she said, as I got older, the things that I thought about, whether it's finances, whether it's love, whether it's life, whether it's money, all of the things that I have thought, a lot of it had to be changed. And my thinking of what I was told on the way I see life end up having to be changed. I had to transform the way I think about life. And it's really messing with me because when I was a child, I was innocent to certain things. But now that I'm an adult, there's a lot of things that I thought that this was the right way and this was not. I'm gonna give you an example. So when I was in Jamaica, I went to my school. I went to my previous school. Shout out to Don Mully Basic School. And I went to the school, and we were talking about where I used to have to walk to go to that school versus go to primary school. And I brought my partner with me, and we were walking up the hill, and I mean, it's hot and it's humid. And we were like, oh my God, how far left do we have to go? But at the time as a child, you didn't think about that. You need to get to school. There ain't no taxi cab. My son, his uncle come and pick him up from school every morning, or I take him to school. We didn't have that. Ain't no school bus coming to pick me up from school to take me to school. You get there on your own, right? You get there on your own. And at the time, as a young child, I thought that's just was the way of life, right? You have to go to school. So you get dressed in the morning, get yourself dressed, and you go to school and you walk to school, you know? So we as adults could barely make it up the hill to go to the school, and we were hot and we were sweating. But back then, we thought it was a norm. We thought this is how it is. This is how life is. You get to school. There's no school bus like America come to pick me up, right? There's no private, school bus. My son goes to school in the Benz. There ain't no Benz driving to come pick me up. Yeah, no. All of that, you got your feet that God has blessed you with, and you walk up them hills and you go to school. And I thought it was, for a long time as a child, this is how life is. So when did we shift from the courage of thinking that this is how life is to where we can transform our mind and says the things that we have learned, whether it's come to our finances, whether it comes to our thinking and our belief system, that it has changed. It really has changed. And as we realize these things, as we realize that things has changed and we're not blinded anymore, it's up to us to now reveal the new thinking and the new belief system so it can serve us at our highest capacity. There's sometimes that we have to let go of the things that have the courage, keyword, because that's what we're talking about today, have the courage to let go of the things that we were taught as a child so we can create prosperity for the next generation. But what I see sometimes is people are so set in their ways that they don't want to let go of the way that they were taught, or they don't, because it takes courage to do that, right? It takes courage to say this is wrong and this is the right way. It takes, especially after you've been doing the things the wrong way for such a long time. So I applaud those leaders that are courageous to be able to be vulnerable. I've been doing videos and live videos for a good almost 6 years now. That's how I grow my 6-figure business. And doing live videos require being courageous, putting yourself out there, talking about your vulnerability, talking about things that has caused you pain, but you have overcome it. See, we don't want to just stick with the pain. We want to stick with a purpose from that pain, right? So I encourage you, my leaders today. I told you I'm talking to leaders today, y'all. I told you to tag that leader that need to be on this live. Tag them right now. If you have some leaders in your life, go ahead and tag them, because that's what I'm talking to. The game changers, the people who say, listen, I'm older now, I'm wiser now. I'm not going to think the way I used to think before. I have responsibility. I have people depending on me. And now that I know this new information, this new way of life, this new way of making money, this way of increasing my income, this new way of health, right? Being safe, I'm going to make sure that I use my voice and my platform to create the courage and the vulnerability to seek the answer and give the message to the people who need to hear it. And that takes courage. Now, this is not for everyone. I'm just saying this is for the leaders. So if you're a leader, go ahead and give me a high five in the chat right now. If you're a leader and you're saying, listen, there are things that I have learned when I was younger, but as I got older and more mature, I realized that I have to shift the way I think. I have to shift my belief system. I have to shift the things that I was taught. And I'm okay with doing that. I'm okay with creating that vulnerability, because that next generation or that next person who's going through the exact same thing that I'm going through may need to know this. And I have no problem in setting myself up in that platform to sending out that message of how I have overcame, because I'm a leader and I need that. And I need that. The many are called, but few are chosen, right? So I'm talking to the few are chosen right now. I'm talking to the chosen leader right now. And if you're saying to yourself, well, Sherri, I don't know if I'm a leader. I don't know how to get my message out there. I have this amazing business, and how I got my story of how I start my business is amazing. And I don't think enough people know it, right? I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and I was telling her, I said, you are so amazing. You have an amazing brand, but you're still the best kept secret. And they're cutting grass. So you're gonna hear them in the background cutting my grass right now. And I'm grateful for that I don't have to go out and cut it, right? I'm super grateful for that, right? So as a leader, it's up to you to step up to the plate more than ever to say, listen, everyone, I believe, is a leader in their own right. Let's be very clear. Some people are more transparent than others. And if you believe that you are called to teach, you're called to help, you're called to serve, this is your opportunity I'm calling you to the forefront and to the platform so we can help other people who are just one step behind us to say, how do we get more information? How do we put ourselves out there? Hey, Lisa, how you doing? She said, hey, Queen, how do we get ourselves out there to be able to help people? You got the information about how to increase your people credit score. You got the information of how to have better relationship. You got the information out there of how people can communicate better. Right now, people are just so impatient and they're so antsy, and they don't have the patience to just sit. Even at the airports, I'm like, relax. It's a vacation, relax. And what I also took from my vacation/business vacation in Jamaica is the staff at the resort. They have this thing where when you're at the resort, they don't shake hands, of course, because it's COVID. So they don't shake hands. But what they do is they put their hand over their heart. So every time you pass one of them and they say good morning to you, they put their hand over their heart. So after a while, we kept asking them, why are you placing your hand over your heart? And he said to me that he's serving from his heart. So every time that he served me or served my guests or whoever was with me, or they say hello, they place their hand over their heart. And I just thought that was like, oh my gosh, like serving from your heart. How beautiful is that? Like they won't shake your hands, but they're letting you know that, listen, I am not just serving you, I am serving you from my heart. And that's from the manager at the resort all the way down to the person who cleaned the room, whatever, right? It's the same response. They respond with serving from their heart. They always, I'm serving you from my heart. And I just thought that was so amazing that the message of serving from their heart starts from the top all the way to the bottom. And if you have a business, whether you are a solopreneur or you have staff or whoever you have in whatever you do, the message of what you want to articulate should, no matter who you talk to, it should be so transparent that the message of showing women, mothers, business owners, business professionals of what they're truly capable of doing when they shift their belief system, that's the message I try to transfer every day. So ask yourself, are you building the courage to transfer your message every day in your business? Yes, you may have a vehicle of how you make money, but the message of what you try to transfer is super, super important. And it should be able to transform that in your customer service, the way you deal with people. So I encourage you now to build that vulnerability. She said, oh, I love that, laying hand over heart. Yes, that Lisa, that was super powerful for me. I've never seen that done before. And I've been to different resorts in Jamaica, and I've never seen that done before. But again, if somebody, you just every time I go to that resort, it just kind of reassure me to number one, to be grateful, of course, but it always give me clarity every time. Because how can, and I asked Renee is one of their managers, and I always asked her, said, how in the world did you install that training and message to your entire staff at Jewel Grand? They need to start paying for their sponsorship, but how in the world can you do that? Because you go to Walmart and you try to ask for somebody, they give you a little attitude because you ask them a question. You know what I'm saying? And I know what they get paid more than the people at Drew Grant. Like literally, I'm like, oh my gosh, like how can we go back to that service? Like, and encouraging others and being able, and it comes from being vulnerable. It comes from not dropping the ego and dropping the pride. And I had an interview about how I started my business using live videos. And then one of the things I talk about is I had to drop my ego and I had to drop my pride because I needed help. When you're in a situation where you need your help, ego and pride go out the way, and courage and vulnerability comes in. Ooh, that was good. That was good. That was good. Right? So you don't, when you oh Jesus, this is so good. You don't realize that when someone said to me, hey Sherri, this person I think needs help, I said, no, they don't need help yet. You know when the help is needed, when they're like their back is against the wall. If you know somebody could be dying about something and they still have the ego and the pride, and the thing is whatever they're doing is killing them, but yet they still have that ego and still have that pride and not willing to let that thing go and not willing to drop that, they're not ready. Until you can surrender, keyword surrender, keyword surrender, until you have the ability to surrender to the situation. We don't mean back down, we mean surrender and say, okay, God, I can't handle this. You got this? I can't handle this. Have the courage to surrender to whatever you're going through today. Have the courage to surrender. I said, this is bigger than me. If this is making sense to you, give me a two in the chat. Have the courage to say to yourself, this is bigger than me, and I have tried with my strength. See, the courage is also to know when to let go. The true meaning of courage, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, is knowing the ability to know when to let go. When to say, this is above me. Like if someone asks me something about something I don't know, like we're talking about business credit and all this stuff, I would say, listen, I know a little bit about it, but let me call Regina because she's all about business credit, right? I know this, listen, have the ability to know when, the courage to surrender and let go. Because I truly believe we take on our own problems. Like we create our own problems. We stress out our own problems because we don't know when to have the ability to surrender and let go, right? We don't have the courage because our ego and our pride get in the way. Like our ego, people ask me all the time, how are you able to tell the world about your 430 credit score? And how are you able to tell the world about your divorce? And because guess what? There's no secret within me. Right? I have the vulnerability to say, this is where I was. And this is what I did. I dropped the ego and I dropped the pride and I say, I need help. And when there are people out there right now, until you're able to have the courage to be vulnerable in this situation, say, this is what I'm going through and this is how I need help. That's when God do his best work, when you're able to surrender. But if you're still trying to, you're lacking the courage to be able to say, because surrendering doesn't mean you lost. Surrendering doesn't mean that you're weak. And that's when we got to change that definition of what that looks like. Because help only comes and can be received when you drop what you think you know. She says, have the courage to surrender what you're going through. It's so powerful. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. True ego and pride do stand in our way. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Yes, it does. And if you really take a second to examine the people who are really doing amazing right now, some people you admire, is because they were willing to be vulnerable and talk about what they went through in their past. So there's nobody can hold it against them. If you really take a second to examine the people in your life, Instagram, I'm going to jump off. Follow me on Facebook. It's Sherri.com. I'm going to jump off so it won't be too long for you guys. But if you really take the second to really examine all the people that you admire, why do you admire them? It's not that they're cute or they have a whole bunch of money. It's more about they have the courage to talk about the pain that they went through and how they got over it. They had the courage to talk about their rock bottom that made them get to their mountaintop. And that's why you're able to follow them and be inspired by them, because they became vulnerable about the situation that you're going through. Because when you become vulnerable about your situation you go through, that's when God do his best work. That is when he does his best work, is you becoming vulnerable. I had to move this I had to cut off Instagram. That's when he does his best work. So I encourage you right now, because your vulnerability may be the lifeline for someone else. Did you get that? Did you get that? Let me say it again. Your vulnerability may be the lifeline for someone else. You being able to spread the message of hope of a situation that you went through may be the lifeline for someone else. So I encourage you today that whatever you're going through, we're going to go ahead and we're going to build the courage to surrender to it and say, let your hands off of it and say, God, listen, you got this, right? you got this. I tried it my way. Now it's your turn to try it your way. And some people will even go through all of this before they surrender. Yes, surrender doesn't mean that you're weak. Yes, correct. Surrender means that you believe in a higher calling that can handle this situation, and it's not you, because the battle is not yours. It's already said that, right? Surrender means that you believe in a higher spiritual, higher calling that is a force higher than yourself that can take care of this situation and it's out of your expertise. That's what it means. And you have the courage to let go and say, listen, this is not my battle. This is not my battle. So I'm going to go ahead. If you ever see a raven will come down, get a snake, bring it back up to the sky. Why? Because they're not going to fight from down. They're going to fight from top. So there's sometimes you got to go higher than yourself. I call it as higher and greater than yourself to really, really, really surrender to your situation. She said, true, we admire those who are vulnerable to their situation. Your vulnerability may be the lifeline for someone else. Exactly. And that person may need that hope today. That person may want to know how you did it. So I encourage you to build the courage and the vulnerability to say, listen, I let go. I surrender. God, you got this. I let go. I surrender. You got this. It's not my battle. Living these gems. I love it. It's not your battle. It's not your battle, right? And we sit in church every Sunday, right? And we talk about faith. So now it's time for you to really activate your faith and surrender and build that courage to let go of the things that is not in your area for you to handle, right? In your spiritual realm. But then what happened is now it's time for you to test your faith, right? We have this tendency, now it's time to test it and see. Test me and see, right? So if you can build that up today, I encourage you to find the courage within you, to find the strength within you, to find the vulnerability within you, to let go of the things that is not of you. Only regurgitate the things you want in your life. I want to regurgitate the things you want in your life. My son was getting dressed for him by himself to this morning. And I was like, oh my God, you did such a great job. You're doing so good dressing yourself. You're doing so good doing your homework. So start regurgitating the things that you want for you. Stop saying the things you don't want. Your words are powerful. Because guess what? The more of what you say is the more of what you get. The more of what you say is the more of what you get. You want that man to start acting right? Start telling him how wonderful he is, how much of a king he is in your life, how you're so grateful to have him in your life, even when he may mess things up. Okay, we know that, ladies, right? You want that woman to be grateful. You tell her how you appreciate her every time she cook or every time she do something good. That supervisor that's getting on your nerves, how about you flip it and just say something positive to that person today? It will shock them. Start regurgitating the things that you want in your life. Only speak on that. Don't mention the negative. Just only speak on the positive. Even try it with your kids. Try it in your relationships and see how it transforms and change. I had to do that. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience. So only talk about the things that you want. If there's something negative is going on, let it stay back there. If this is making sense to you, give me a two in the chat, two in the chat. And when you build that courage up to say, listen, I want to transform, and you're saying, Sherri, this is something I'm really working on and I need help in that area, DM me, let's chat. DM me, let's talk more about this. Because here's the thing, the reason why it's so hard for you to speak out what you want, because there's some inner issues that you may have to deal with first before you can even speak out. It hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. So someone that has hurt you, trust me, they have been hurt before as well. But it will take a person who has courage and are vulnerable to transform that. All right, y'all, that's all I got for y'all today. Go ahead and DM me if this is something that you say you need help with. I need to be able to start regurgitating things where it becomes so supernatural for me to speak what I want and see come to existence. That's all I got. Hey, listen, go ahead and jump inside of my group on Shake Up a Faith, and I'll talk to you later.